when you have something that is amazing to offer. It's either a product or a service. Maybe you know you're going to change the world with this thing. You tell somebody about it and they give you this look that's like, what? And then you start to feel the gremlins that creep up from the depth of your soul, and you realize that you are behaving like a salesy weirdo, and you crawl into a hole and you never tell anybody about it again. Have you ever felt that way? I'm just going to start by saying I have totally felt that way. And there is someone who I'm about to bring on to share with you. Her name is Sharla, and she has I'm just going to say that she has committed her life to helping coaches and holistic practitioners to be in a place where they can feel amazing about making an offer, so that you don't have to feel like a salesy weirdo, and so that more of the people who need you are able to say yes to your service so that they can jump into it and have their lives changed. I'm so glad that we have people here. Keep the comments coming down below. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sharla so that we can bring her on. If you are excited about this, let us know. Barbara, already we have so many comments. So great to see you. Muriel, Beth, Carinder, Tamar, Melissa, Faye, Amelia, hooray. I'm going to bring Sharla up, and I'm letting you know that if you comment below with the word thrive or the word show notes, because some of you had already started commenting with show notes, we have something seriously awesome that I'm going to share with you. You'll get show notes and a special gift that I'm going to have Sharla tell you about. It's going to be crazy. But let me tell you a little bit about her first, because I know you're going to be so delighted to see her face. Okay, so Sharla Jacobs is the co-founder of the Thrive Academy. Y'all, I am so honored to have been to 3 of her events so far. Every single one of them has been literally life-changing for so many reasons, which we'll talk more about. And the Thrive Academy is where she and her husband, Jesse Corin, have taught more than, check this out, 50,000 coaches and holistic practitioners from all over the world. They're known as 2 of the world's leading authorities in showing coaches and holistic practitioners how to attain their first 10K month using what is learned at the Thrive Academy. Their clients have earned, hold on to your hats and glasses, their clients have earned over $1 million collectively. What? So as I bring Sharla on, I would love it if you could give us the biggest fireworks show, which means hit all of those emojis. I want to see them. She'll be able to hear them and feel them as she comes on. She likes to call this a whoosh. So give her a virtual whoosh with lots of emojis. Here we go. Here's Sharla. Whoosh.
Hey, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you, Molly. So happy to be with all of our friends here from BeLive. So absolutely delighted. I have to correct you about something.
Oh, what did I say?
You said that our clients have earned a collective $1 million. It's actually $100 million.
100 million. Oh my gosh. And you know what's funny? That is hilarious.
It's not that impressive, you know, it's a lot of people, but 100 million. Yeah. Like seriously, like we've launched some amazing transformational leaders here at Thrive. Super proud, super excited. And
oh my goodness. I'm so good at getting excited and changing up numbers because so I actually went back and I was like, read this word for word, Mahoney. Because one time on stage, I was saying that we had a video that had a reach of 1 million. And I accidentally on stage said we did $1 million in sales from one video. And I didn't realize it till later. Peter Stratton was like, did you really do $1 million from that one video? And I was like, no. And I went back and watch out.
Oops.
Oh my goodness. We have so many people here who I'm just as excited as they are to be able to learn these 8 mistakes that so many coaches and entrepreneurs and holistic practitioners are making when they're making sales? Is it just in general in life? Tell us about what we're going to be talking about today.
This is about all over in your practice, in your business. You know, I do actually want to do a quick little poll here. I want to find out. I want to know if you're with us. So I want to know if your vision is more about what we call being a one-on-one connector. I mean, your work is all about connecting intimately and deeply with one person at a time. That's how you do your work. And, you know, you tend to just be a little more of a introverted person who just really wants to just really hone in on that one person. So if that's you, you can type in connector. I'm just curious.
Oh, connector. I love it. Okay. So connector.
So that's one type of person that we tend to work with. Another type of person we tend to work with is what we call a transformational leader. Now, if you're a transformational leader, you want to work with groups of people. I'm guessing that most of you are transformational leaders if you want to use Facebook Live because you really want to reach the masses, right? And this could be how, yes, Nick, you're right here. So you can type in transformational leader if this is you. Maybe you want to lead group programs. Maybe you want to, do live events where you're speaking to groups. And you can be both. If you're both, we still say you're a transformational leader, but the distinction is that your one-on-one work becomes very high-end and you work with only a very few select high-end clients. Make sense? So yes. Transformational leader, Matthew's here.
We love you, Matthew.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, love to see these comments. I will see lots of both. So curious. And thank you everybody for commenting. So I want to share about the 8 mistakes. Before I do, would it be okay if I shared a little bit about myself and my husband and this crazy journey of how we got here today?
Yes. Please.
Okay, good. So, today I live and work with my really handsome husband, and he's not just handsome; he's like freaking brilliant. I mean,
and he's a really good dancer.
He's a really good dancer, and he's worked hard at that. I'm telling you. People actually talk about their coaching with Jesse when they're at our live events as like a before and after the coaching, like a total turning point in their life. The man is a genius, and genius at curriculum, genius at coaching, just so extraordinary, and he's super hot, love of my life. So we work together, and we have 2 beautiful boys, Jacob and Zach. Our kids are almost 7 and 10, kind of close to your kids' age.
I know, which I love so much.
No, we got to get them together sometime. And we really truly believe. I know that not everybody here is a coach or a holistic practitioner, but I imagine that your work is about making a difference in people's lives and really doing good, positive, changing, life-changing work in the world, transformational work in the world. And for us, we really believe that when human beings get the healing and empowerment that they need, that's going to be the biggest shift on this planet. So that's really our come from, our why. For our children, I mean, we really want to help coaches and holistic practitioners and healers reach more people. Now,
I just want to add also, because I know that we have, and I know this is not your specific ideal, person that you're speaking to necessarily all the time, but we have so many people here who are in direct sales as well. And what I love about the work that we're doing and what you're doing is that this stuff, like the stuff that I know that you're so brilliant at sharing with people and the transformation that I've received from being at your events is actually so applicable to people who do sell products and services or products in addition to services, if you open your mind to the idea that Sharla just said, that with your putting yourself out there, whether it's using Facebook Live, whether it's sponsoring someone to join your team, that kind of stuff, you can actually be making a crazy, amazing impact on the world. So even if you're not a holistic practitioner or a coach, I believe that this is something that you can get so many nuggets from. So stay here.
Yeah, I promise you will get tons of value, even if you're not a coach or holistic practitioner. We do occasionally have a few people sneak in to our live event that isn't that isn't a coach or holistic practitioner, but I tell you that those are the folks we're a little bit woo-woo, so I'm going to tell you that right away, and I promise you that if you hang in there, you're going to walk away with some really great things that you can use right away, including, I'm going to share these 8 mistakes that we personally made, that we've seen a lot of coaches and holistic practitioners make. I'm going to share our system called the 5 elements of heart selling, like heart in your chest. How do you have a connection and a conversation with a potential client where they're leaning in and they want to hear what you have to say, and they are just so engaged that they're likely to say yes if it's a good match, or they're likely to refer. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about that system and a whole lot more. So hang in there with me, whether you are an ideal thriving world kind of client or not. I promise to give you value, and that's what I'm really committed to.
And I just want to say that you are the perfect amount of woo. So sometimes I remember someone saying just one woo, but they are the perfect amount of woo.
Not woo, just woo. Just one woo. All right, so life is pretty good. I'm not saying we don't have bumps and things aren't crazy around here. I have 2 young children, and I have a company with 30 people on the team and 12 live events a year, and several hundred clients at any given time. So, life is life, and it's crazy. You just throw in children, period, and that's it.
Which I love that about Charlotte. How many parents do we have here, whether it's for, human kids or fur babies? Let us know.
I've got both. Life is good. And we've got over 50,000 coaches and holistic practitioners, which means that, a lot of people are getting that healing and empowerment they need. Hold on. Am I getting an echo from this?
It sounds good on my side.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I have this new microphone. See, cool. Wow.
Oh, we have the same one.
What? Prepared performer microphone. It's new.
I like it.
Okay. All right. Tip 1 for the day, right?
Okay.
Okay. So anyways, but it wasn't always this way. Jesse and I started out in 2002. I graduated from acupuncture school. So I'm a licensed acupuncturist. And I also shortly after got my coaching certification. And it took me about a whole 5 or 6 weeks to figure out that I knew nothing about sales and marketing, zip zero, nothing. And that I needed to know something in order to grow my business. And I honestly, I hated sales and marketing. I was terrified of it. I was repulsed by it. So you can raise your hand if that's you, right? Or you can type in I get it. But I had $80,000 in student loans weighing on my shoulders after graduating from my master's program to my
That is crazy.
So, and I remember one day that, here I was trying to make my business work, and 5 or 6 weeks into it, I had pulled over.
Okay, Sharla, I'm going to stop you just for a second because we're getting that there's major echo. I just tried to put my, you were totally right. I'm trying to put my headset in, but I just don't want people to miss this because I think this is something that so many people are going to connect to. So I'm going to try to put my headset.
You down. What? That's better. Tell me, is that echo? Are you still getting it? I said echo.
Tamara says no echo on hers, how does this work? What? I'm just going to refresh it. We're going to stay here. The video is not going away. Okay. And I love moments like this, especially when Sharla and I bring our energy with the technology. So let me refresh it and I'll bring us back in. So you may have to click on the link again that I gave you, Sharla, but you may be able to hang out there. We'll see. Right. Okay. We'll be there. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Hey, maybe you still see me. I don't know. I'm looking here. Totally. Love it. Okay. Now it's good. Sound is better now. Echo is gone. No echo on mine. Thank you for all of your feedback. I wonder if my turning it down really made the difference. We shall find out, and we'll see what happens when Molly comes back on.
I love that you were
she popped me in the lobby.
Hooray.
Okay.
Awesome. Is that better now?
Are we better? Okay. They still see me. Cambria still sees me.
Hooray.
Okay. How is the sound, everybody?
We're good. We're good.
We're good. If we say we're good, it's going to seem like an echo.
I know, right? Let's go. Okay, we'll just go and we'll see what happens from here.
All right. Where was I in my story? Okay.
You were saying that you had $85,000 in student loans.
Crazy, right? And I had to make my business work. Or I had to go back to a job, which honestly, the job wouldn't even covered my bills, right? So I had this no matter what moment of, and I actually remember standing in the health food store at the produce aisle. I'm sitting there with an organic avocado in one hand and a conventional avocado in the other. And the difference of $1 was such a big deal. And I started thinking, oh my God, am I going to have to start eating it sounds kind of crazy, but am I going to start eating conventional produce? Am I going to have to start shopping at, you know what I mean? Just my lifestyle, things that really mattered to me. I was thinking I had to give it up. And so in that moment, it was okay, you've either got to figure this out, Sharla, or you've got to get a job. And that's it. And I made a no matter what decision that I was going to find a way to figure this out. And I was super fortunate because at the time I had a friend who mentored people who were new in business to get their business going. And he promised me that if I worked with him and I did the homework, I would triple my income in 90 days. Now, I was earning about $1,800 a month. And I had pulled some people over from my internship in acupuncture and done everything that I knew how to grow my business. And I had a smattering of clients, and I was kind of, barely getting by. Listen, I live in the Bay Area, and I'm telling you, this was 16 years ago. I couldn't afford to live off of that. Right. So, I fortunately, I did find this mentor, and actually he charged $600 a month at the time. And I told you I didn't tell you this. I was starting to put groceries on credit cards, right? It was that bad. Yeah. But I asked Jesse, who had a job at the time, and this is before we were married, if he would float me, if he would actually pay for this coaching and loan me the money. And he said yes. And so I got started with this mentor, and this is crazy. Can I tell you what the homework was?
Yes.
You know what the homework was, Molly? Have you heard this story?
I don't think I have, which I can't believe.
My homework, in order to guarantee I'd triple my income, was to have 100 sales conversations a week. Are you freaking kidding me? 100 sales conversations a week. That was the guarantee. Okay, but I didn't know any better that was ridiculous. So I went for it, and I went to every single networking event I can go to. You guys have to remember, this is before Facebook. This is when we had Nokia phones. You didn't text because it took too long. This is
If you had a Nokia phone, comment below.
Nokia phone. I might be a little bit older than you. This is like 2002, right? So I go to every networking event I can go to, and I'm standing at a table and I speak to 7 people at the table. That counts as 7 little tick marks. I follow up with everybody I talk with. I'm collecting business cards. I'm doing all of that. First 60 days, all honesty, I had about 60 conversations a week, right? Like little people I tick marked.
That's a lot of conversations.
It was a lot. And it was like my full-time job, right? Because I didn't have that many clients. And the first 60 days, I sucked at it. Like Jesse would actually overhear me talking to people and he'd be like, oh my God, can you call them back and apologize? It was so bad. It really wasn't going so well. I was still hovering around $2,000 a month and I had another 30 days to go. And I had one of those big moments where what I call a divine download. And I really think that we coined that term, by the way. I know a lot of people use it, but we've been using it for like 15 years. I had this divine download because I was such a geek about the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. And the 5 elements are like, you're supposed to be able to look at anything around you in the world, and the 5 elements are all supposed to be present, right? So I asked myself, okay, if the human condition is that all 5 elements have to be present in every human being and that they can go out of balance, maybe that is true in a sales conversation. So I said, what if that's true, right? And because I asked myself that question, what if that's true? I had this divine download that was like a map of how to use this 5 element system that I had been studying for 3.5 years for how to have potential clients practically talk themselves into working with me if it's a match. I'm going to be sharing this system with you today. And in that last 30 days of when I started using this system, I finally had my breakthrough. I earned over $5,400 in just that last 30 days. And I thought it was a pretty good start. Jesse watched me do this and he soon followed suit. And he promised himself that when he got enough clients to quit his job, he would. And he
What was his job at the time?
He was working for United Way as the Together for Youth coordinator. So he was working in a nonprofit and organizing people and eating a lot of cookies and pizza. You'll hear him tell that story one day. Miserable, right? It was, and he knew he mastered this formula when he got 16 new clients in 1 month. And I do have to say, by the way, I'm never, ever, none of us are ever going to ask you to have 100 sales conversations in a week. As a matter of fact, many of our clients are talking to 3 potential clients in a month and earning $10,000 plus each month. So, hope you're relieved. So we decided to call this system the 5 elements of heart selling. And you're going to learn about that today. And I'm going to show you how you can go deeper. And by the way, just as a way of going deeper, I know, Molly, you said that we've got a really special gift for you. And that is you can just comment Thrive in the comments and you'll get to hear all about that special gift. I'll be telling you about that today. And that's how we can go deeper with these 5 elements. So more about that in a moment. And then, so what happened for us, we built our private practices. We were doing fine. And a few friends who were coaches and holistic practitioners, because that's who we hung out with, asked us how we had done it. And so we started just sharing and people just kept asking and they desperately wanted to know how to attract more clients. So we created our very first live event for them that we now call the Client Attraction Summit. They loved it so much, they referred their friends. That was over 13 years ago. We've led that event over 87 times, I believe. And in that first year of working together, Jesse and I earned over $175,000 just together, right? And
so cool.
I know. And it's just, we've had over 8,500 people attend this live event. And I have to tell you, you never know what's going to happen for you when you just take that step the universe puts in front of you, that next step. And I had never had any plans or any idea to be acknowledged as 2 of the world's leading authorities in holistic business training. And the great fortune we've had to create significant transformation in this world. And, but I'm so grateful that the universe put these next steps in front of me and that I said, yes. It's done some really cool things. Like we've contributed almost $200,000 to causes that we believe in, including sponsoring 2 African villages. And the coolest thing is our success is awesome. Yay, great. We've made millions of dollars. But the most important thing is if you look at a lot of the rising transformational leaders of today, you'll find that many of them had their first $10,000 a month while they were working with us. And, they've earned over $100 million collectively. So, and growing. So, so that is my story.
Which I love. It's so tangible. I know we've all had our own avocado moments.
Right.
Like, what do we actually do in this situation?
Yeah.
So I'm stoked to jump in and learn these 8 mistakes.
Yeah.
I want to just let the cat out of the bag that the free gift that we're sending you when you comment below with the word thrive, make sure you respond to our message with the word thrive. And then we'll send you the show notes after this is done. I'm going to put them together in a little blog post and send you the show notes. And Sharla is crazy and has allowed me to give all of you a free ticket to her next event, like in person, real, be there in person. And I've been to 3 of her events, like I said, and not only like are the people amazing who are there, I know I've met some of you at her events, which is super cool. Hello, Matthew, and others who are watching right now. But just the content, the amount of information and value that they give has made huge strides in my business. So I'm so grateful for you and Jesse both and the Thrive community.
I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so we would love to have you all join us. It's full scholarship to the Client Attraction Summit. I mentioned it below. I mentioned it earlier, and you know how to get there. All right, so let's talk about some mistakes.
Like it. Okay, let's dig it.
Let's talk about mistake number 1. Mistake number 1 is letting your fear or your current circumstances limit your vision. So one of our spiritual mentors says, pain pushes until vision pulls. So are you motivated by the fear of not having enough money, or are you like excited and inspired by your vision and you can't wait to get out of bed? A lot of people start with that excitement and then things aren't going as well and they fall back into that and they kind of start to limit their vision. So the key here, the remedy to this mistake, is to create your crystal clear vision for your business. And we recommend that you start by like, how do you want to feel and what do you want it to look like? So I'll share a few people that you might know actually. So Sage Levine, when Sage came to us, she had only 2 clients in her coaching practice, but she had a vision to become a transformation leader. She wanted a home by the beach. She wanted to be doing massive amounts of philanthropy. Now, she actually just had an event where she earned over $1 million. She had over 500 women there. And she's got that house and she's contributed like over $500,000. I'm sure it's getting closer to $1 million by now, of women in the rainforest and in Indonesia, supporting them to build businesses that serve their communities, protect our ecosystem. So like that was her vision, you know. Another one, Melissa Seaman. Melissa actually was an attorney who turned psychic during the birth of her child and kind of had these like 2 worlds. You know Melissa, right, Molly? She's
amazing.
2 worlds. Like she had come from this whole like attorney world. She like had to give that up because this like psychic ability that opened up. So she's a shaman. She's a very gifted healer, but wasn't making very much money when she came to us. And she had a vision of buying a retreat center and holding small retreats there. And she now has a multiple 6-figure business doing the work she loves. She works with really high-end clients. She ended up buying that retreat center, works deeply with private clients, and she's so extraordinary. As a matter of fact, she's Jesse's coach, like somebody that Jesse goes to when he needs to quit. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Sandy Zeldis is another one. She came to us. She was a nutrition coach and EFT practitioner. If you don't know EFT, it's the tapping, right? Emotional freedom technique. If you don't know about it, it's good stuff. She was actually struggling to get anyone to pay her $60 an hour for her wellness coaching when she came. And, her vision was much simpler. She just wanted a successful private practice where she could work with a handful of private clients really deeply. And she also wanted the freedom to go and spend time with her horse. Now, Sandy,
so can you give us examples of how they would have been making the mistake with that? So these are like, you guys can see that these are the powerful visions that they're sharing.
Yes.
But instead, she could have been, my vision is to.
My vision is just like, okay, Sage could have been like, I just want, 8 coaching clients. That's all I want, but her vision was much bigger than that. So I just want you to know that your vision is a driving force for you. If the universe gave you that vision, to hold on to it and to bring it to your mentors and have your mentors say, hey, yeah, that's doable. It may take longer than you think it's going to take. The reality is that, but to hold on to it, right? So that's the question is like, what would you do if you couldn't fail, right? That's the remedy. And I will tell you a crystal clear vision isn't crystal clear unless it has numbers. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to set aside time to create your crystal clear vision and about like what your life would look like. And I'm going to highly recommend you create bronze, silver, and gold level income goals for yourself. Bronze is like the minimum. That's what I need to do. We have like 1-year goals, 90-day goals, things like that. Like, setting goals actually is an important thing. That's why people have been talking about it for years. So now, some of you are here, you may be visionaries. You may be very clear what you want. You may not be making that mistake. However, if you have your crystal clear vision, the next thing that happens The very next thing that happens, and I love that you actually used the word gremlins, Molly, because the gremlins come in right away, right? The gremlins come in. And so mistake number 2 is believing you don't have what it takes. It's so hard because, when you look at your life, maybe you don't have the time and the money and the knowledge and the relationships with people who are up to big things. Maybe you even feel overwhelmed. Your life feels chaotic and you're not making the money that you want to make. You might even find yourself going deeper into debt. But one thing that we ask our clients all the time, and this is the remedy, would you rather have resources or would you rather be resourceful? So when you're resourceful, you attract resources, right? So how do you become resourceful? You're more resourceful when you see life as an adventure rather than trying to survive it.
We like adventures around here at BeLive TV.
Right. So, and I know you're very adventurous, Molly, and it's a big part of your success. So some people see life as something to survive. And when you're walking around in that energy of something to survive, it's just like, you're barely getting by. But when you see life as an adventure, even all of the stuff that's happening for you, you take as a learning experience and you grow and you attract all the resources you need. So, and
I want to say something about this also is that even once we conquer these things, these first 2, at least, they come back. So when you reach a new level of success, there's still an opportunity for your fear to limit your vision. Absolutely. There's still an opportunity to believe that you don't have what it takes. For all of us. So I think these are great things. Me too.
Still, right?
Yeah.
But what's the remedy? The remedy is to find a way to be resourceful. And, when you surround yourself with community of people that believe in you and know that you can do this and you create those relationships, that stuff happens over time. But when you do that, and honestly, those relationships come from being at live events with people. That's where you create those relationships. You build up that relationship equity and then you will be set. You will be resourceful. You will find a way. And it's magic every time, over and over and over again. So crazy, right? So, And one thing is also we recommend that you focus on the resources you have rather than focusing what you don't have, right? So another mission for you is to take a little time to write down resources you already have. Think about finances, time, and relationships.
Ooh, let's do that right now. So I want you to start commenting down below with resources that you actually have. All of us. This can be great for all of us.
Love it. And I'm loving just reading some of the comments while you're love it, love it, love it. Yes, all these lovely, lovely, lovely things. I love what John said. It's also helpful to focus on your past successes and let that drive you forward. Absolutely. It's hard for your gremlins to tell you that you're a piece of crap when you could hey, look what I did, right? And a lot of times people this is another little tip. Sometimes people think you're trying to think of your successes in your current realm with what you're currently doing, what you're currently doing. But many of you actually have stuff from your past that has nothing to do with what you're doing now, but that actually you can prove to yourself hey, I'm awesome. Look what I did. So look there. It's a great place. All right. So, and I'll give you another tip here that puts me in a state of instant resourcefulness. Instead of asking the question, why can't I, which is a total gremlin question, right? Instead, ask, how can I? How could it be possible? How can this be easy? Those kinds of questions are so, so powerful, and they will get you into that state of resourcefulness. Start writing down, brainstorming, just writing down everything you can. So I hope that's a helpful tip for you. All right, so this brings us to mistake number 3, which is relying on coaching or conversations with friends to figure out how to attract more clients. So I will say that coaching is a very, very powerful modality to transform your beliefs, and it's essential. However, if you don't have the practical skills and templates to be effective, it's easy for those negative beliefs to get reinforced, right? Because you're you want to do really well, you get excited, you get off coaching with your friends. I remember I used to get coaching on my what do you do statement from other coaches who weren't very successful either. And I'd be so lit up about this what do you do statement, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. What do you do? Because that's a big mistake as well that people make. I get so excited about it. And so I'm all lit up and I'm all passionate about my what do you do statement. And I go in the world and it doesn't, people didn't respond to it. And I didn't know what was wrong. I was excited and passionate and lit up. I didn't understand why it wasn't working. And that's because the person who's coaching me didn't have any other better knowledge than I did, right? So you've got to have those practical skills and templates, because then those negative beliefs get reinforced and you end up in a negative downward spiral. Versus when you start to get the templates and how to talk about what you do in an effective way. How to talk about how much you charge. How to have these conversations. You turn into an upward spiral, right? And you get good feedback. People respond positively. They're leaning in. And then you get more inspired and excited and you start to believe in yourself more. So super important to not only have that like mindset coaching that you can get from friends of yours that might be coaches, but you also have got to find a mentor. It doesn't have to be us. I mean, we'd be honored if it was, but you have to have somebody who actually knows what they're doing, has been there, done that, and can show you the way. So that is the remedy, right? Is to find a mentor who's been where you've been, and a community of people who are also focused on growing their business and they're also having success, right? So you can shift the beliefs and get the practical tips. Make sense?
Yes, I love it.
All right. Mistake number 4. You're going to have to tell me. You're going to listen closely and tell me if you've made this mistake. It's talking too long about what you do. Talking too long about what you do. You share what you do and you keep talking like people aren't getting it. So you keep trying to explain it, right? And then people's eyes roll in the back of their head. And I'm really not trying to make fun of anybody because I made the same mistake. I used to try to explain what I did. I was doing acupuncture and coaching together. Nobody got it. I'll tell you why a little bit more later. So 2 of the biggest mistakes that many coaches and holistic practitioners and other entrepreneurs make when sharing their what do you do statement is they share their title or their process. Their title or their process. When you share your title, you're actually hoping somebody already knows what you do and they're interested.
Well, and you're talking about you.
Right. So I would say, oh, I'm an acupuncturist. Well, either people knew an acupuncturist or they didn't. Or I'm a coach, right? And they're talking, I'm talking about 16 years ago, nobody knew what coaching was. Like very few people did. And if they did know what coaching was, they were a coach. Or their sister or mother was a coach or something like that. So the thing is that if somebody knows, like they've experienced the modality that you have to offer, or whatever it is, the product or whatever it is that you're offering, a very small percentage of people will know what you do. And if they do know, they probably already know somebody.
Or they're probably already working with someone.
Right, exactly. And if they don't know what you do or what you have to offer, then it can be confusing because then it's like it's a disconnect, like they have to figure it out. And then when you share your process, like how you do what you do, you're actually likely to overwhelm or even scare them, especially for you holistic practitioners and healers and even coaches. Like, you share the process. Now, this may not apply for those of you who are doing direct sales, but for those of you that are doing any kind of coaching or any kind of healing modality, please don't share the process.
I just want to say, and the echo I think is happening. P.S. When I'm talking, it's coming through your computer. So I muted you for a second just while I talk, and then I'm going to bring you back on. But I know that people who sell products do this all the time. Like they'll move straight into, I have you muted right now, but I'll bring you back on in a second. But I know that people who are like indirect sales who have a product, they'll talk about the way that the product was made or the tangible thing that the product has instead of the benefits that it provides.
Okay. I'm going to.
You're good. I can hear you now. I muted you for a second on purpose.
I dropped off.
What? Hello? You're here still. Can you hear me? She's still there. I don't know what happened now. Shoot. Sharla, you're still there. Okay, let's have Sharla refresh maybe. I was trying to be fancy. Maybe I tricked. So I'm going to do this for a sec. Well, shoot. Okay. So this is something that I think is so true that we have to remind ourselves of this all the time, that we don't want to necessarily we don't want to lead with talking about who we are or what we do. We want to focus on the benefits that we're providing, the thing that we're doing for the other person. Sharla, can you hear me?
Okay, so Cambria and Muriel are saying, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear Molly?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Tell someone comment below and tell Sharla to leave and come back, to close her browser down and come back on.
I just see Molly, so I'm going to click on the link again.
Okay. Let me Sharla, do you see me? Leave and come back on. Okay. I'm going to hide her again. I love that we can do this with BeLive because technology is magical and amazing. I'm going to bring her back on. Oh, I have 2 of her. Oh, let me see. Hold on. Oh, wait. Okay. BeLive is so magical that it allows us to be able to do this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I thought I totally disappeared. My screen went black, so I couldn't hear anything you just said.
Oh my gosh, how funny. You were here the whole time.
It was good. I was here the whole time, but I was like, what is going on? Can you hear me? And somebody, and Muriel and Cambria said, yes, they could hear me, but I didn't know what was happening.
I know. So, and like I said earlier, I love the fact that any of this works is literally magic. right? And so the fact, if you are using BeLive, which hello, we hope that you are. And if you're not, when you comment below with the word Thrive, we will also give you a free 2-week trial of BeLive TV, which is super cool.
Nice. Yeah. I love BeLive.
I know. And this is something that's super useful for you to know, that if something gets a little glitchy, just refresh and you don't lose the stream, which is super cool. You can refresh the screen and it'll keep the same video that you started with. Right. And Muriel says, whoa, Muriel says Mercury in retrograde. Hello.
Please. I'm with you, sister.
Okay, so we are on talking too long about what you do, which all of us, and this is, I call this being a salesy weirdo. And I know it's not in a mean way. It's that we all have been salesy weirdos in our past. So totally.
All right. Everybody's afraid of it, right? Like, so, when you're sharing what you do in a way that it's really working, you want people saying, I need to talk to you, or I know someone who needs to talk to you. That means you're likely doing a really great job. So if that's happening to you, then you're using the remedy of what we call the face rule. When you share what you do, you want somebody's face to come to mind, right? With the person you're talking with. So I want you to imagine you're talking with a friend and they've complained to you about a problem that they're having. And this is a really good thing that human beings complain a lot as a business person. It's awesome. I'll tell you why. Because now you know what problem they're dealing with and you can help them solve that problem. I like to think of myself as a walking Rolodex. Like, what problem do you have? I know somebody who can help you. I'm going to look. I'm going to find somebody for you. I'm going to show up in service to everybody I meet, and I am going to be there to help and help you find that resource, right? I want you to become that person, right? You're not always selling your services. You are there showing up in service. I'll talk about the earth element in a moment and how that works. So next thing you know, you're talking with somebody that can solve that problem. And so the face of your friend comes to mind, right? So when you share your what do, you want to be statement, you want to be so specific that the type of person you help and the problem you're solving, that anyone you're talking with has somebody else's face come to mind, right? And getting your clear and compelling answer to the question, what do you do, it's one of the most essential keys to becoming a magnet for your ideal clients. I want to give you an important tip right now. When someone asks you, what do, you naturally want to answer with the title or process, right? Like you want to tell them what you do, literally answer the question, but that is a mistake. I want you to instead pretend they're asking you a different question. How do you help people? Now, this is not where you go into this big, long conversation about the process. This is where you share about the problem that you solve. So that's where you share about the problem that you solve. Now, by the way, if you are stuck with your what do you do statement and you want some support when you actually take us up on the full scholarship for the Client Attraction Summit, not only are we going to give you the 3-day live event as a gift, we're also going to give you a private coaching session with one of our Thrive Business coaches, who all of our Thrive Business coaches have at least had their first $10,000 a month using what they learned at Thrive. And she can help you with your what do you do statement if that's the place that you're stuck. So that's awesome. So yeah, exciting.
That's awesome. You know what? And Muriel just asked a great question, which is, what if you do two things? And I think that can be such a problem because we end up talking about both of them at the same time.
Yes. Yeah. And one thing I will tell you this, a couple of things about this, Muriel, and everybody listening. I love that you asked this question because it's so perfect for everybody. So the first thing is that you all, this is another mistake that a lot of people make, is that they think their what do you do statement, like you think your what do you do statement has to be this all encompassing description of what you do. And you make it so significant, like it gets connected with the very identity of who you are in your work. And I want you to actually get that your what do you do statement is not that significant. It's not, we cannot take the magic and the brilliance of everything that you do or everything that you offer and just pop it into one sentence. Not going to happen. It's never going to happen no matter how hard you try. So I hope you can give that up, and I hope that's a relief. Instead, what it is it's just a conversation starter. And what I want to invite you to consider, and I know that this might start making your head spin, but if it does, I'm sorry, and that's why we offer the coaching as part of the package, is that your what do you do statement should really be about the person you help, the type of person you help, and the urgent problem you solve. Like, that's it. Ask me what I do, Molly.
What's yours? Can you tell us what yours is?
Yeah, my husband and I teach coaches and holistic practitioners how to attract more clients. Now, I'm telling you, we do this beautiful, amazing, extraordinary transformational work that like people walk away like their life has changed, like their beliefs about themselves. We teach people how to speak. We teach so much, but that is not going to all fit into one sentence. This is just like a conversation starter. You get it? So take the pressure off yourself to like take all the 2 things or for some of you, the 50 things. We call you a DLOS. It does lots of stuff if you have lots of letters after your name. So take all the pressure off of yourself to try and fit that all into one thing. And really it's about like the urgent problem you're solving it for whom. And if you don't know what that problem is, again, we can help you with that. And we'd love to.
And this is also amazing information simply for your Facebook Lives.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Yeah. I like it. Okay, number 5.
Okay, mistake number 5. Not having a client enrollment process that is both heart-based and effective, right? So if you've ever had a negative experience of being what did you call it, a salesy weirdo? Is that what you called it?
Of calling him Steve. Steve, the salesy weirdo. We came up with this name yesterday.
Right. Okay. So if you've ever had that experience of being that, or actually finding yourself doing it to somebody else, it's just like this thing, like we've all had negative sales experiences where we felt like a number and we felt like somebody was trying to sell something or push something on us. And we've also had the experience of maybe even likely trying to sell something as a child and being rejected. And so it's really common for even the smartest and most conscious and heartfelt people to avoid selling. Really, really common. Most of us avoid what we call the sales box. Like we don't want to be perceived as pushy or manipulative or salesy or obnoxious. So many people swing to the other side of the spectrum, and then you put yourself in the heart box and you're so nice and everyone likes you and you're giving away lots of free sessions and not getting paid, right? So you remember my story of tripling my income earlier. Going to all those networking events was awful. Like for the first 60 days, right? I really like people. Like I enjoy being with people, but I felt so disgusting. Like I needed a shower when I had to try and sell myself. I didn't know what I was doing. And I almost gave up, right? And the turning point.
If you felt that way before, because I have so many funny, awkward memories of this exact situation and of myself. Right. So let us know below if you felt that way before.
Yes. I think we all have, right? Like we all have, unless you were just born an amazing salesman, which I don't know anybody that's done that, right? Like where you're like, hey, but even, if you like knew how to do this stuff, I don't know, you'd be doing really well and you probably wouldn't be here. All right. So I remember I asked myself those questions, like how could sales be heartfelt and natural and actually like a healing and enjoyable experience? How could I be in alignment when I'm doing it? And how are the 5 elements present? And that was when I had that download by using the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. It was that filter. And I found that when all 5 elements were in balance, it was just like magic. I'd have these great conversations. I'd often get a new client. And when any of the 5 elements were out of balance, conversation wouldn't go so well, right? So when we first started our practices 16 years ago, heart selling was the only thing we knew how to attract clients. So the definition of heart selling, and it's heart selling, not hard selling, heart selling. It's an inspiring conversation that leads to action. And so the remedy to this mistake is to become masterful in client attraction and hard selling. And when you find the balance between heart and sales where you feel aligned, you become a transformational leader. So, basically each of the elements increases the trust. And if you're missing even one element, you could break trust so badly that somebody would never want to work with you. Now, we only have about 15 minutes. I have this and a few other mistakes to go into. So I can't go into it deeply, but I just want to give you a little taste of the 5 elements. We go through this super, super deeply in the Client Attraction Summit, and even do some like workshop style exercises to really get this stuff in your bones.
And I've read Sharla's book. She has about this as well. Yeah, a long time ago. I love it.
Awesome. And by the way, you get the book is another bonus that you get when you sign up for the summit. So book, coaching session. We just want to rock your world here. All right, so the first element is the fire element. And when your fire element is balanced, it's like sitting around a campfire, like roasting marshmallows, like that real connected feeling where you're like laughing and having a good time. And the warmth of the fire creates this really beautiful connection between you and your potential client. So I like to think of when I'm meeting somebody new, all I'm doing is connecting. I have no agenda. I have no idea what's going on for this person. If I can help them or not, doesn't even matter. I'm not there to sell. I'm just there to connect. That's where you start, is the fire element. Then the earth element is the next element. And this is like, you think about the great Mother Earth and all the nourishment and nurturing that we get. The earth provides so much abundance. It's like you don't just get one blueberry on the bush, you get hundreds, right? So when your earth is in balance, you feel abundant. And from this place of abundance, you naturally want to be of service. Now, remember, I talked about earlier that you want to just show up in service for people. I want to find out what's going on. I want to help everybody I meet. Like, I want to contribute something. Like, that's my goal. If I could walk around, if I could contribute one thing to everybody I talk to, I am feeling good. And I hope that that's the way that you start walking around in your life, is showing up in service. So, but if you have too much of the earth element, you have this like huge basket of blueberries and you decide to give them all away for free because you don't value them. Like, you know, they go rotten. Like, some people don't eat them all, right? So maybe you're giving away a lot of free advice, extra long sessions, and giving, but not making the money that you need to make and to truly thrive. So the quality of too much earth is over giving.
Do you ever give away your blueberries? Comment below.
Too many blueberries? You give away so many blueberries. Or you act like you have so many blueberries where you actually give away so many you don't even have enough for yourself, right? That's what happens. And then there's that empty basket, right? Like, once you've given it all away, then you're like desperately want to fill up your basket with clients. And then you get in that energy of neediness and desperation, and you become a salesy weirdo named Steve. And that actually repels clients and lands you in what we call the sales box, right? So even though you're just trying to pay your bills, that quality is needy and desperate. So the earth element imbalance is service. And when you show up in service without overgiving, your people will love it. I have a fun story here. Amy Sherrill came to us, and she was a DLOS, does lots of stuff. She was like a personal trainer, a Reiki master. She did coaching. She did all kinds of stuff. And she was like earth out of balance in the heart box, giving it all away, like the poster child for this, right? She would give these like hour and a half long sessions, and then she'd think like, oh, if people want more, they'll call me. And it just wasn't going well. And she actually realized when we talked about the earth element at the Client Attraction Summit that it was actually a disservice not to give that much away and to not talk with people about working together long term. So instead of giving these free sessions, she started giving free consultations, and she started offering a package at a minimum instead of just giving it away like one session at a time and offering one session at a time. And she actually, shortly after she joined Thrive Academy, she went from like less than $20,000 a year to having a $25,000 a month. So pretty good stuff, right?
Yeah. I want to know, for people who are offering their services, do you sell them as a singular item, or do you only sell them in packages, or do you do both? Let us know down below.
Great question. Yeah, one of the best things you can do is actually always at least offer a package of services. I know some of you are doing products, but like
with products too, though, and
bundle.
Yeah, put it even with, so LuLaRoe, the company that we work a lot with, which does direct sales, they're not set up to have a package that they sell from the company, but they can create their own packages. Nice. So
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So that is the earth element. Earth imbalance is service. Metal element, it's like a shining diamond that we mine from the earth, right? The gems and minerals of the earth. And, we place a lot of value on that. So the quality of the metal element is acknowledgement. Are you acknowledging your people when you're talking to them? Do they feel seen and gotten and heard? Like, are you really connected with them? You're showing up in service, and are you acknowledging the things that they're sharing with you? It really sets up a relationship where they feel empowered. When you acknowledge people, they lean in and they want to spend more time with you. So be that person who acknowledges. Then we get into the water element, which is the quality is to be curious. Ooh. And to be curious, to ask questions, and not agenda style questions. That's a sales box where you're asking those dumb leading questions like, would you like to get started Tuesday or Thursday, when they haven't even said yes. Like, assumptive selling sucks. Don't do it. That is the sales box, and that's the water element out of balance, agenda style type of question.
I also want to say something about that. So I was on a call with someone recently, and I knew I was going to buy their service, like hands down knew I was going to. And it was their team that I was on a call with. So it was like a salesperson. And I could basically hear his hand, like checking off all the questions he was supposed to ask me. And like, okay, interesting. So tell me, if you purchased our product, how would your life change? Like, it was so gross. And I found myself like,
did you not sign up?
No, I did sign up because I really needed what they had.
And in spite of him.
Well, but I instead went to a place of like gratitude and love for his bravery and just putting himself out there at all. Because I think one of the things that happens is we get like about other people selling to us, and then that transfers into our own sales processes. So we need to make sure that when we are approached by salesy weirdos, like, recognize this is scary for everybody, right? Yeah. But that there is a better way.
Yeah, and transform those beliefs, make it important to put yourself in an environment where you're going to get that transformation, meaning like you're going to get that change from like, I'm afraid of selling and it's weird and people are odd, to like, I actually can do this and feel really connected with people and show up in service and acknowledge them and be curious. And that brings us to our last element, the would element, which is give them a choice. You want to always move the conversation forward. So is it a choice? Hey, would you like to check in about what we were talking about? And, and actually like people carry their phones, right? So book an appointment at that time to like check in, or they're leaning in, they're interested in what you have to offer. Hey, would you like to get started? I love those would element questions. Simple yes or no, give them a choice. And it's got to be a clear choice. It's not an assumptive choice. It's got to be in the right order so people feel honored and they don't feel disrespected, right? Makes sense? And yes. I have actually I have a quick story here. Dr. Abiola Oladoke, that's her real name. She's from Nigeria. And when she was at the summit, she realized like she never used the would. She was like in the heart box. She just handed people her card and thought they would call. They don't call. They get busy.
Have you been in that place? You have to ask. Comment below. Have you been there? Let us know.
Totally. She realized she wasn't asking. She did this one thing. She was actually doing all right. She's a PhD in sleep neuroscience, had like $250,000 in student loans, crazy, was earning about $7,000 a month, but that was not enough with her situation. She walks out of the summit after she gets this would element distinction, and she starts asking people, like getting their cards and asking them. And she goes from $7,000 a month to having a $15,000 a week. Shortly after that, she had like a $28,000 a month. And then shortly after that, a $56,000 a month. And that's normal for her now. Now, obviously, there were more things just in the would element, but that was a big shift for her.
Yeah.
So the 5 elements are really like one of the biggest reasons a lot of coaches and holistic practitioners come to our Client Attraction Summit. And really, it's our hope that you go from dreading selling to loving the opportunity to connect and serve and acknowledge and be curious and give them a choice. And when your potential clients feel that being honored and respected, the 5 elements will help them practically talk themselves into working with you if it's a good match. So this brings us to mistake number 6. Not feeling confident about your rates or charging too little. Good thing when somebody asks you how much you charge, it means they're interested, usually, right? But if you're not confident in your rates, you're either gonna, like your insecurity is actually gonna show when you're talking with them. So you can either 1, lower your rates, or 2, give yourself a raise, do the transformational work you need to feel confident. So which do you think that we recommend?
Do the transformational work you need to feel confident.
The remedy for this mistake is to hold your ideal clients as resourceful human beings that can handle your rates. And when you cultivate your own resourcefulness, you see your potential clients as resourceful people. So, and another remedy is to compare your rates with people who charge more than you do. It's a little secret that like helps us feel really generous when we make our offers for our programs. We have friends, like bless their hearts, they charge $100,000 for their coaching for a year. Blows my mind, okay? And maybe we have limiting beliefs that aren't allowing us to do that, but our highest level program is less than a fifth of that. And it's like a lifetime access to everything we have to offer. So maybe that's a limiting belief, but all of our clients benefited from it. I think they're happy. And this brings us to mistake number 7. So let's say the money concern comes up. Mistake number 7 is either convincing or collapsing when the money concern shows up. Either trying to convince the client that the value is really there and getting pushy, which I know that's none of you here, right? It's a very small percentage of people that are out to do great, heartfelt, loving work in the world that become pushy, but some do.
And it can come out of a place of like fear or desperation that you have to fill that basket of blueberries.
Totally. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So the other end of the spectrum is to collapse and just, let your potential client walk away believing their story that they aren't resourceful. So the remedy is to put your package or whatever you're offering to the side. Like actually say, let's put that to the side for a minute. And, if the relationship is there, if they're leaning in, if they really want it, to actually support them to find that state of being resourceful. And so, it's like, have you ever decided to invest in yourself when you weren't sure where the resources were going to come from? So most likely it was that no matter what decision to invest in yourself that actually expanded your energy and you were able to find a way to come up with the money. Mm-hmm. And I will say this, that people will invest when they realize it costs more to say no to working with you than to say yes to working with you. So
totally. And that that energy shift is so palpable. Like Tamar just said it, the struggle with the pay part, it's awkward for me. And I think it gets awkward for almost everyone at some point. And it's those two things that we do. We either get like, buy it, or we get like, oh, okay, I'll go away.
Yeah. So the remedy is to really like, well, you've got to have the skill set, right? And it's like one of those essential skill sets. Like you got to be able to talk about what you do in a way that people get it. You've got to be able to position yourself in a way that people get that you're worth listening to. And some of you be surprised at some of the ways that you can do that. You've got to be able to have that effective client enrollment process. And you have, including being able to dance with concerns. A lot of traditional sales training call it overcoming objections. I hate that language. It makes me want to barf. So this is dancing with concerns. People's concerns are valid. You want to honor them and be respectful. And there's a way to do that where they feel really empowered, and people will sometimes say yes. And of course, if you really know what you're doing, those concerns don't even come up as much because it's been set up ahead of time.
And you know what? I actually shout out, just so everybody who hears me talk about that a lot, because I talk about that a lot, and I shout out Jesse all the time. And what does he call? Because that was such a big part of the speaker training that I went to with you guys. Yeah. And we call it teaching to objections is what my coach Adam calls it. But what is Jesse calls it something specific? It's
transforming
dancing dancing with concerns.
Dancing concerns or transforming concerns.
Yeah. And so it's like making sure that you're aware of those and you're not fighting them. Well, you're not overcoming them. You're like celebrating them and showing how we work through it, which I love that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, and this brings us to our last mistake number 8. And I'm curious, so far, I've shared a lot of mistakes. So did you find yourself in at least some of them so far? Mistake number 8 is not having leverage in your efforts to attract clients. So the definition of leverage is using something to maximize, like to maximum advantage, right? And I told you when I was first growing my business, I did it the hard way. I was challenged to have 100 sales conversations. Remember, you don't ever have to do that. That was going about client attraction the hard way. It worked, but it was a lot of effort. These days, I have very few conversations because I'm speaking with people who can put me on their stage, who can endorse me to their members. And I'm about to sneeze. Hold on. It's coming.
Bless you.
All right. Hey, bless me. Thank you. That woke me up.
That was awesome.
My favorite remedy to create leverage client attraction efforts is speaking to groups. It's the highest paid profession. And, we've made over $20 million speaking to groups. Our clients have made tens of millions of dollars collectively speaking to groups. And the secret is to offer immense value whenever you're doing something like speaking or out there in the world.
Or using BeLive and
BeLive. It's a way of speaking. and always make sure that the value supports people to move closer to your offer if it's a good match. So it could be a free consultation. It could be, any kind of whatever the next step is. And so, so this is really like the new paradigm, like it's like putting yourself out there in a way where you've got leverage. And also you can get leverage in your business where you're trading value for dollars, you're working with groups instead of just one-on-one. So lots more I could say about that. And I hope that you've all gotten massive amounts of value. I want to invite you. You've already commented Thrive, or many of you have. If you're curious about our Client Attraction Summit, the coaching session, the book, you go there and you're going to get a link to be able to go and opt in. You're going to get a free video series. You can learn all about the summit. We cover all 8 of these mistakes and give you the remedies in depth during the Client Attraction Summit. So if you found yourself making any of these mistakes, then just go ahead and comment Thrive and we'll send you the information. I just want to be really upfront and transparent with you. It's a full scholarship to the live event. We do ask for a $197 deposit to hold your seat. We hand you a check when you walk in the door. So it really is our gift to you, plus all the other gifts that come with it. And I'm just super, super grateful, Molly, that you had me here today. Thank you.
Thank you. And for those that are still here, I would love, out of the 8 mistakes that we spoke about, I'm going to pull them up on the screen really quickly and let you see what they are and comment with the one that you feel is the most resonates with you that you're going to shift. Because I love all the ways that we spoke about how to shift these. So as we're talking, I'm going to just bring them up. And I also just want to say that at their events, because like I said, I've been to 3 of them now, not only is there so much crazy valuable information, like you can tell from the stuff that Sharla shared with us today that there's like structure and templates, but also it's heartfelt and like juicy and amazing. But in addition to that, there's such a crazy opportunity to be able to speak to other people who are exactly like you in that position where they are people. Yeah. And it's if you're someone who ever wants to do your own events or has thought about doing your own events, one of the other things that I love so much about attending your events is watching it from the outside, like the structural way that it's put together and the fun, kooky, weird things that you do to get everybody engaged. It's so different.
It's a party. It's like a party. Yeah.
Oh, and where is it? Say when and where it is.
Like, Molly, you're a party. Wherever you go, there's a party, right? So,
and I want to go to more parties.
If you like being with Molly, you will have fun with us. Linda just asked, where's the event? So the next event's coming up May 18th through 20th in San Jose. There's another one coming up in September. So I hope you can join me for one of those.
Awesome. So if they couldn't make the May one, could they use this towards the September one as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you go ahead and you get to the site and you put in your name and email address, you'll go to the apply for a scholarship button and you'll see the dates listed that are available right now.
Awesome. Super cool. And then don't forget, I know this is a lot, so I will be putting this into show notes as well that we'll put on our blog, and I'll send you that. If you were watching last week with Bradley, who I met at one of Sharla's events, BT Dubs, which is so cool, you may have noticed that you got an email from me this morning with the show notes from the show last week. So that was super cool too.
Thank you so much, Molly. What a blessing to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you. You guys, let's give Sharla a big whoosh. This is what she does. Okay, are you ready? On the count of 3, we're going to go like this, whoosh, straight at her. You can do it by hitting the emojis, whatever you want. But that's how we're going to end today. Ready? On the count of 3, I'm going to use one hand so that I can end the broadcast too. Okay, it has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you, helping you to unlock your inner awesome with the help of the amazing Sharla Jacobs. Go out there, share your awesome, be live. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, whoosh.